Welcome back. Well, car accidents, they happen all the time, and when you find yourself injured, it's best that you know your rights. And with us today, we have two perfect gentlemen to tell us about that. They are Jason Spencer and Travis Anderson of Spencer Anderson Law Firm. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Well, you know, car accidents happen every single day. If somebody finds themselves in a car accident, what is the first thing they need to do?
Well, the first thing that somebody should really do is they should consider their own person. They should stop and pause because of the excitement of the accident. Oftentimes, we don't recognize that we have injuries, and so everybody wants to get on with their day, and they think that it's too much of an inconvenience, and then later, the next day or the following day, they start to feel the effects of some accidents. And so the most important thing is to worry about yourself and go to the hospital.
Yeah. Okay, so you're saying if you've been in an accident, you need to go to the hospital either way because you're not exactly thinking whether you're injured or not at that particular time of the accident.
Maybe not exactly run to the hospital, but people often concerned with exchanging information, taking pictures of their car, which are all great things, and I would recommend that you do that. But assess yourself physically. Think, how am I feeling? Am I hurt? Do I need medical treatment?
Sure.
Within a very short period of time, a few hours, you probably need to go seek medical treatment, get checked out.
Right. Do you often see maybe clients who said, I didn't even know I was injured until months down the road, and maybe it's too late?
It's a very common thing. In fact, insurance companies are going to look at the very first few hours after the accident to determine whether or not you truly had an injury. And the prevailing idea is that most of us know when we're injured, but the reality is that we don't often recognize. In fact, some injuries don't even present themselves for several days. But you really need to make sure that you take care of yourself and go see a hospital. That's the most important thing. That if you need to take the ambulance, take the ambulance. A car accident's going to ruin your day. Just accept that. But go to the hospital and take care of yourself, because if you don't, then you may lose many rights that are really important at the very beginning of your claim.
So it's that window of the accident and maybe a day later or 2 days later where you have to kind of get in and get checked out.
Absolutely.
Okay, and see, that's really important. A lot of people don't know that. They start feeling symptoms maybe weeks down the road, and that's not exactly a good thing. Now, Travis, when is it time to seek an attorney?
I think that when you ask yourself that question is usually the best time. People often say, maybe I should get a lawyer. That little feeling you get, I think that you should act on that and seek that. One of the things that we do best is counsel with people. We answer questions. Our initial consultations are of course free, and we're always willing to talk to people and kind of help them to understand what they need to do, how to take the next step, and to take care of the financial obligations that might arise as a result of an injury.
Okay, now Jason, I want to ask you something. Let's talk about injuries in the workplace. Tell me about how you protect people and how you help them kind of be knowledgeable about their rights when they're injured at work.
Well, that's a very good question, and the reality is that same kind of a thing within the workplace. People don't want to cause, I guess, a confrontation between themselves and the employer. But here again, you have to think about your ability to earn a living, and that injury could prevent you from being able to do that in the future. And some injuries cost hundreds of thousands of dollars that you may not know that going into the injury. And so you need to report that injury to your employer. That same day that you're injured, don't go home, except that you've reported that injury and that you have some kind of proof that you reported it to them.
Right. There's
been a growing trend, and many employers are failing to report those injuries to their insurance companies, and then later it becomes almost an impossible task to try to show that you were actually injured and that you reported it.
Sure. Now, what can an employee be missing out on? Let's say due to inconvenience, they didn't want to report it. I mean, you guys would be the first to know what they could be missing out on.
Initially, if you're talking about a workplace injury, traditionally in workers' compensation, for example, as symptoms might increase, you start to feel more pain, you start to become more disabled, you're unable to work. Initial medical and medical to treat those conditions could be lost if you haven't reported within a specific period of time. Also, too, if you start missing work, income replacement benefits might be lost. And so it's very, very, very important that you seek advice and you understand what those rights are and you assert them.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, gentlemen. Now, if you find yourself in an accident or injured at work, maybe it's a good thing that you keep the phone number around. Spencer Anderson Law Firm, their number is 210-699-0004. You can also visit them online, spencer-anderson.com.